This is IBM Museum. This is my first regular video since coming back from VCF East last weekend. And I was there on Saturday, October the 9th. And that was in Wall, New Jersey. I wanted to have this first video. I did pick up some other items on the trip. It was multi-purpose. I had some items that were stored away over there that I was planning to bring back in the rental vehicle. I did fly over there. I was hosted very well by RetroTech Chris. Big shout out. The guy is a fabulous host. Took care of me in every possible way, and we did the drive from where he lives into Wall, New Jersey to attend it for that one day. And I'm going to show some items that I did pick up at the show for the time I was there. Lots of good items, and even here is a little bit slightly different view. Let me go through and hide. And I'm sorry for the kind of the presentation here. I'll probably do the this view of going through and kind of working through the items. I did want to show that big system over on the right though, and I've spotted some RAM. It looks like it has a CPU. I have not tried to fire this up. I figured I've got it connected. I haven't even powered it up before. We'll see if we can at least get into the BIOS. It does have PS2 mouse and keyboard connections that I do have there, and a VGA output, and we'll see if we can get any video from it to explain a little bit more of what it is. But let me get turned around, and I can probably move my webcam out of the way so I can get in there. And I have the display arranged, even though that lower right hand corner is just barely visible off in the upper left there, but I wanted to have it off in a way that it didn't repeat itself from the background, but I wanted to see what I'm showing on screen. And of course I didn't get the B over there, just something I had on my recording studio. But for the we can probably start with IBM items and kind of work our way back to the IBM system being last and trying to start it up. And I did, most of the items I got are actually from one vendor in particular. It was there, he had some real nice prices. And this is actually a, I just marked there, General Logic probe. And I have to figure out how this thing operates. It's got a manual in there, what it was for. But you can kind of see the panel of it there, the switches that are on the front, whatever that device, that probe is there. And then on the back, it has the technology. We're going to get a lot of reflection from the ring light, but it has FAT or TTL, SLD, and SLT, which is just some of the, I think, the logic levels. I mean, I'm familiar with the FAT sort of thing, the TTL, of course, and the SLD and SLT. I think that's some of the chip factors that IBM had, the form factors. Could be wrong in that. And then over on the right it says technology. It's got multi, MST 2/4, and MST 1 for that technology switch. And it does have some probes, and the end of the probe seem to be a little bit beat up for that red probe, and then there's the black probe of the leads that come out of it, and this coiled up cord. It even has a hook on part of it. Apparently you clip that hook into someplace, and I don't know an estimate of that cord. I mean, I could go through and unravel it for the first time in probably a very long time since it's been stored. I mean, if I were guessing, 5 foot, 4 foot, or 5 foot long, maybe, for that. And then you see there, the IBM General Logic probe, great for working on vintage IBM gear. So certainly up my channel, and only $20. And that is from the vendor themselves for selling this item. And there it's got the manual. Oh, big old overview of that. I can go through and scan this manual just to show. I thought it had oh yeah, it's got a packet of extra kind of clips here. I thought I saw like an alligator or a clip or something similar there. But it shows all the orientation of that. I haven't looked through this manual at all, but it does provide some information there on how to use it. Even a couple pictures. Huh. Okay. Remove. It's, I don't know if that cover. You pull. There's 5 screws. But maybe you can pull that cover off. And they show going through and using it. So neat little device. I kind of hope to see what it's and then there's the parts list. It even has the part numbers or the FRUs. I'll even have to find out readers' comments. I wonder if I could put readers' comments in. Please indicate in the space below if you wish a reply. No postage necessary if mailed within the USA. So I probably think that that's a long time ago for the free postage. And then there's some information on back as far as the origination, Field Engineering Division in White Plains, New York. And just a neat little device that we can check out how that can be used at some later point. Kind of got it for the novelty of it from the same vendor, and since I was kind of tempted and was buying something anyway, they had this. And I don't know even of the packing list of where it was going originally. I'll show that side first. Intel video capture cards and plus camera. And I was thinking there was one adapter in here. And of course the cover was open. There's the vendor label. Intel Smart Video Recorder, ISA interfaces, software and composite color camera, only $35. And I thought it was, I was kind of intrigued because there's a microchannel adapter that is also Intel and it's rebranded as IBM. And one of these is still in the static, anti-static wrapper. I pulled one out and it looked pretty good shape. I mean, I see some scratches and everything else, but this looked like a, to me, looked like a very similar to a microchannel adapter called the Action Media 2. It was rebranded. It was the Intel DS2 for Intel's name, but then it's got the the things that labeled on there on the back of the of like the I think it's probably the camera video, and then there's like an S video. And these three adapters, they have the same components on them. The one that is in the and this one's a pretty good view. You can see all the same layout on the board, and looks to be exactly the same. And I was just thinking I was getting one adapter, so I was really amazed to see three in here. And there are systems I can try this on. And also I want to compare the software to the microchannel version. The one in the still in the anti-static wrap, the seal, it actually has a composite video plug for that. And then I think this is for one of the, it's for an adapter that takes that same plug on the other cards and basically just makes it into the composite video anyway as well. And then there is there's an S-video cable. You can tell by the pins and all that, the 4 pins in there in the arrangement, that's an S-video cable. I have, of course, others of those. And that's designed to plug into the back of the adapter. And it has the software, digital video producer, system for Windows, and then the Intel Smart Video Recorder Pro software. And looks like 2 diskettes for each. And I don't know if these have been archived yet. Certainly we can archive them. Then it's got a power supply, and this is for the... I haven't even pulled this camera out yet. I don't know if this camera has ever been out and unwrapped. I wonder if it's still sealed. Well, no, it's open on this end. So there is a color camera where you have to do the aperture settings, the lens. Doesn't really have any lens cover now on it. S-video out, composite video. There's even a microphone input, probably. And then just 12 volt DC standard barrel adapter. It looks like a 5.1 millimeter external diameter, and the 2 point, it looks like the wider barrel plug for the, there's the 2.1 millimeter and the 2.5 millimeter inside diameter. It looks like the 2.5 probably. So that'll be something to try. Then it has the some adjustable controls, I guess, there. And for just doing a little bit of tunings and a little couple switches there, made in Japan. Even has a brand. I can't really show, well, the switches, and I would need my glasses to see what those are labeled as, or to figure out what those are labeled as. But there's the information on the camera itself. The serial number. Be even interesting to see when this thing was made. And I do have there's manuals in here as well that would be very helpful in going through and setting this up. I guess it did have like the little platform on the top in the packaging. But there's and then of course the rubber bands that have lived their life and gone brittle, designed to bind up cords and cables. You have the Intel Smart Video Recorder Pro, installation guide and video tips. Intel Indio Video Companion Products Catalog. How to make Indio Video work harder for you. And I probably need to go through and timestamp this as I go through to narrow it down so people can go to particular sections for the items I cover. This is the first edition, June of 1994. And copyright Intel. Tips, installation, getting started, tips on creating a video. What's in the package? It shows the hardware, and I've got 3 of those adapters, and I don't have the CD-ROM in there, but that's video clips, music, and animation. I guess you could go through and add so they show how to install the adapter, plugging the camera in, testing it, changing the interrupt, if this happens, and you'll know because the DVP capture program will run very slowly or will hang, you need to set a new interrupt. Okay, and changing the IO address, going through, shows the window screens, starting the capture. I like to test this out on a video myself, of course, not with it. Well, I can even try and display. Watch out for fragmentation. Use as low of data rate as possible. Using 15 frames per second frame rate. Avoid dropping frames. The video these days is so much better, of course. Diagnostics. Technical specifications there. Your index. It gives even for your video, if it's compressed and what quality and the image size, how much that will use. And I'm sure that these were very big numbers back in the day. I mean, when you talk about 132 megabyte per minute at 320 by 240, and even at that last one, they have the 320 by 240, which is one quadrant of a 640 by 480 screen that IBM had for VGA. And that's 154 megabytes a minute. Nice little helpful manual that'll come in handy at the time. Oh, wow. Okay, they even show video conferencing here for back in the day. We've come so far. Okay. They're showing some of the programs. Be nice to look this stuff up and see It doesn't show prices, but interactive multimedia applications for computer-based training kiosk, commercial tiles, and performance support systems. Video compression sampler, video director. All these nice little things. I need to go through and scan network video. Interesting. I give contact even for these other companies that probably tied into the API for that. But that was another item I got from that same vendor. And then, excuse me. So, also from, and I should have put these back in the box of those items when I was done with that. We'll get them. No, that's the general. Wrong box. That was the box I just put down. Okay. Get those back there in that box, even if I don't have it closed. Okay. Excuse me. And even from, I think it's a little dusty. In there, excuse me, I need the ability to mute my microphone. And then from the same vendor, and I just got these, I got some of the parallel and game port because I have enough of the serial connections, but they were selling 5 of these cables in a big bin for $1 a piece. And I got that from the same vendor. So that was all one vendor. Now down the consignment floor, and I can probably put that there. So Microsoft Small Office Business Edition 2003. And I subscribe to Microsoft 365 anyway, and I have a whole bunch of Office 2000. I've got Office XP. I've got some of the later Office versions, but they didn't really have 2003. I think I have a student edition, but just for all that, I mean, original, and it's got the product key. That was $1 on the consignment floor, just in a bin. So real good value just to grab. Anyway, and I think this is Alex, and he was running the till. He had some items down there. I just thought it's a Bluetooth keyboard, Logitech, good brand. It's got some functions. I'll have to try this out sometime on some of the device. I just $5. I thought it was a nice enough keyboard for being Bluetooth and everything else. Having a few side functions, everything else I can run. And so I thought that was worth grabbing. And then also on the consignment floor, they had these X10. And this is the old power control. And I used to have the IBM branded versions of these where they plug into the socket. You run your device and it had the control code that you set. And I had an IBM Aptiva it had a serial out to the controller, and then you had these modules that you could do wireless. There's a wall outlet. This is just a big sample of the remote control X10 stuff. And that X10, I mean, that was fairly expensive stuff back in the day, but if somebody had a pack there of the old X10, and $5. So I mean, that was good enough value for me to do. Oh, I do have some from that other the primary vendor I did, I guess. But so that was this set lanyard for whatever it is. Better choice in phone, internet, and video services. It's got their web address, everything. That was a freebie. Okay, move that screw off the side. I know that's for some other what I had on the bench previously. Down on in the consignment area, they had a freebie table where I got the lanyard. That was free. And I thought, well, yeah, it's kind of interesting for a little bit of study. Microsoft.NET Framework 3.5, Windows Communication Foundation, training kit, and I can't remember if these had, yeah, this is disk in it. Couple disk CD-ROMs from this is ultimately Microsoft Press. That's a freebie, so grabbed it. Now this is on the vendor where I got all the other. I got the ribbon cables. I got the Logic probe and the Intel video capture. Programming the IBM personal computer. Basic. That's $3. And that just seemed like a good enough book for me to latch on for $3. Turbo Pascal. I've been going through and watching a channel with him going through Pascal. I'll have to go through and link that. He goes over not necessarily, well, he covers Turbo Pascal in part, but he covers this another Pascal compiler, and I think I've got Turbo Pascal somewhere that was a Borland product, and the complete reference, and $3. So I thought that was a good buy. And then I used to have the older first and second edition. These are the good Muller books. And this is the 5th edition. Talks about including the CD-ROM. I don't know if it... No, that's empty. But that's fine. These are helpful enough, and I just thought I think it made a good rounded number for what I paid, being $5, and it's a good standard thing for good, vintage systems. Some of these the earlier editions had the PS2's models featured in there, relatively some information that was specifically for them. This is probably later, 5th edition, and I don't know how many editions this went through. 5th edition is a little bit higher up. 1995 by Q Corporation. So good book to have. And we've gone through, kind of cleared it all away. This had a label on the top, a little bit of information. But this was, and it's a System X3200. And I did see, of course, like a missing bezel in here, but it had the DVD drive. Has a little bit of information on the machine type, BIOS version, the date. It has here as $50, but I thought this was marked. I thought it was marked as 40 when I got it. Maybe I don't know. I thought I paid 40, but I may have paid 50. I don't know what it was marked. I thought it was pretty good for what I saw. A little bit little bit dinged up. Otherwise, I do have that plugged in the back, and they even had the keys to this. This is kind of the days, and you do the key, and that went through and locked even the panel on the front. But this is the days where they had, you know, the layout of your planer or motherboard, and the jumpers, how they were set, just identifiers with diagnostic LEDs and things like that. All the access to the bays, all those information on the models. And I looked this up online later on just to get a basic idea of the stats of it, or the placement. And we'll have to see for the just when if it'll start up. It does have, just trying to bring these cords as I turn it, and it did include the keys and what looks like a drive bay way to get the drives out, or something else, and how they got designed in the bag. And they've got always, this is kind of the style for that IBMs of that time, of the retainers, where it puts pressures on the specific adapters. And this is just 32-bit PCI in there, and then I think it's got like a PCI Express X1, and probably I'm trying to think of the wider. I'm not as familiar with the PCI Express connector for that. And then this looks like, and it's got some block, and I don't know if that's like a VGA or expansion module that doesn't have a port on the back. It's got parallel and serial. This is serial connector, parallel being visible. 2 LAN. I think like 4 USB. It's got PS2 ports on there, and it's got like a standard power supply. There's 2 DIMMs in the 4 sockets. It's got the CPU and a CPU fan. I just see that DVD is and this is just a DVD ROM drive, is parallel ATA. It's not SATA. I did see SATA connections on this, and just to kind of, they have a SODIMM connector there. Who knows, that might be for like a RAID. I'd have to look at some of the chips. They've got some Intel chips, bunch of little SATA connections down there. Oh, this does look like it has a at least one drive here, and of course it's got the intrusion switch on the side, so we might have to close that door when all is said and done. But then you have the panel. Yeah, and there's a drive. There's actually 2 drives in there. And then that there's in the 0 and the 1, and then it's got the 2 and 3 bays. And this is probably fairly unique mounting for those bays that you'd have to have for adding more drives. But that's nice. It's got some drives in there. It might even who knows, we might even get into an OS. I'll put the keys back there in the bag. They're not shorting anything. They're not touching anything. Just for the intrusion switch being there. I'm going to go through and close the side. Okay. And I got the keyboard down here by my feet. Just a standard Model M. Let's try to switch to VGA. And we've got all the power cords still connected. I don't have any, I've got a network cable over here, but I don't know necessarily that we need to go to a network cable, but let's just kind of see. Let's go through and power this on. Okay. Okay. Okay, memory size has changed. I wanted to go through the BIOS anyway, so it looks like it has Windows 7. But we're going to go through, want to get into that setup process. I should have pressed F1 in that when it booted before. Oh, okay. Entering setup. We're going to get that up on the screen. Just so you guys have a little bit of view of what the... Okay. Okay. DMD01 is disabled. Okay. System summary. Installed memory. So we've got 2 gigabyte. Internal floppy disk installed. Device 0. Okay. Then we've got some 80 gigabyte SATA drives. Mouse installed. Okay, there's your processor information. Okay. And I think 2 gigabytes should be enough to run Windows 7. Okay. System information. There's the model submodel. It's the 4362-AC1. System serial number. BIOS version 1.42. And the 8th of January 2011. Looks like the BIOS version's on here. I don't know if there's a later BIOS. Devices. 2 serial ports. There's parallel port setup. Auto disabled. Enabled. Okay. Remote console redirection. All your baud rate. Everything else that you could set up with the serial port. Internal floppy diskette. Internal floppy disk. So I wonder if it's got probably a diskette, a drive controller in there, which would be kind of neat to put on this thing. Mouse, planar Ethernet, parallel ATA, serial ATA, and then your modes of operation, and then your video. It's an ATI. With 16 megabyte of VRAM. See how close in date and time. And actually, and this is just for East Coast time, but it's otherwise accurate. I can go through and system security. I don't necessarily want to set anything right now. Startup options, advanced setup, CPU options, and PCI bus control. LAN settings. Set IP addresses and all sorts of stuff. System event log. Huh. Non-maskable interrupt. Memory throttling option. Error logs. I'll have to find out. I can populate. I'll have to see what kind of DIMMs those are in there to go through and populate more. Now, this Windows 7, would probably have to crack into it. I did have the I've got a LAN connection here that I can, and this, like I say, this does have two Ethernet connections on the baseboard. I don't know which is primary for all that. I don't know if they're, well, they might be gigabit. Okay. Let's see how far we can get with this. And I do have a high-end CD if I had to go through and break into the Windows 7. And again, like I say, I'll probably timestamp this to kind of show, or to so people can flip to a particular area. But yeah, it's just a little bit beat up, a little bit scratched up, but that's not too bad. I mean, it sounds like a good functional system. And Windows 7 Professional. It could be where it doesn't have a password to get into the OS or anything like that, but we'll find out. And 2 GB is not a whole bunch for a Windows 7 system. That's why I'm talking about adding more, and I need to look through the specifications and find out what memory can be added, because I have lots of spare DIMMs to go through and to add this. This is not to make this video for any any length of time. I see that we're going to be coming up on about 45 minutes. I think it's probably overall a good video length for what we covered. I'm going to go through, get my microphone cable around the right way. And as soon as we get a little bit further It'd be a nice video close. Put my Model M up there. I've got a mouse connected to it. And let's go through, start putting stuff just back up here. But nice little haul. I mean, for me, spending maybe $20, $35. I mean, I spent more than $100 on things and got a number of freebies. Got some good value. I mean, just slightly over $100, maybe 110, 111, 112. By all that calculation. Desktop manager. Oh, I forgot about the keyboard. So certainly below $120. And got some nice stuff that I'll be able to check out. Go through. I'm not really familiar with this interface at all. It's telling me please wait. I thought I set different thing of time. Radio Shack. Okay. And it minimized. I mean, figure out what purpose that this machine was doing. MCL link. Link in with something. Minimize that. I don't know a way to go through and or what this will eventually present. But it's nice to see the machine is operational and booting to whatever. And I'll just have to see what use case I can do for it here. But that's the items that I got with the from the VCF East. I'll be featuring the other items that I picked up along the trip that I'd planned to get to pick up and bring home in other videos. Real nice AS400 and looks to be operational and running, and that's the thing I need at this point for doing some of the videos that I intend to do. And then I've got the kind of a PS2 unicorn. I've got an 8590. That's the it's a submodel of 402. That's a special bid unit, the leading four. And I'd heard of the 401s, and this is a 402 that I have. I'll be showing that, and because it's got a 386 complex, 36DX complex, 20 megahertz, which is a little bit interesting for the Model 90. That's called the Type 0 complex. And those assembled, and especially the new in box for like I have. I mean, I have the original pack. It's in the original packaging. Has all the original items untouched. That'll be interesting to putting on the bench and showing that. But if you thought this video was good, you enjoyed it, click on that like button, please. By all means, give me a comment. That's where I met some people there, handed out cards, and trying to further along the channel, of course. Hopefully that gave me some subscribers. I think I'm just below 600 subscribers, which is fine. I need more, though. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe. Please subscribe and recommend it to your friends so they can subscribe. But that is all I have for now. This is IBM Museum. Thank you.